Discover the incredible story of a woman mechanic. 100,000 challenge changes everything. Emma was not your average mechanic. With grease-streaked hands and fire in her heart, she managed her small workshop in a town that whispered her name, some in admiration, others in skepticism. At 34, she juggled life as a single mother of two, often stretching every dime and tire, desperately trying to keep their lives stable. Each clank of a wrench echoed her struggle against the prejudice that loomed over her like an unforgiving cloud. Society often asked if she belonged in this male-dominated field, and every question felt like a punch to her gut. Yet, she pressed on, fueled by love for her children and a fierce determination to prove them wrong. Just when Emma thought the weight of the world might crush her, fate threw in a twist. A local businessman announced a life-changing 100,000 challenge for struggling businesses. Emma's heart raced at the thought. This was her chance, a way to elevate her shop, providing a sanctuary for her kids while lifting the weight of survival off her shoulders. But as she prepared to take part, those familiar voices of doubt crept in. The men around her cast sideways glances, their raised eyebrows filled with skepticism. Combine that with the long shadow of her estranged father's expectations, and Emma found herself tangled in knots of anxiety, sheer determination fighting back tears. Each day, as she set to work, the memories of her father, the retired veteran whose approval she still craved, gnawed at her mind. Their past was a tapestry of disappointment and hurt, and the distance between them was like an open wound. She needed to reconcile those feelings, but fear gripped her heart each time she thought about reaching out. As the challenge loomed closer, turbulence brewed inside her, threatening to spill over. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Just when she thought she could pull it all together, disaster struck. A crucial piece of equipment broke down just days before judging began, sending Emma's world spiraling. Her heart raced, despair clawing its way into her thoughts. How could she show her worth when everything was crumbling around her? But then, unexpectedly, a neighbor, someone she had barely exchanged pleasantries with, offered to help. It was the spark of hope she needed. Together, they discovered hidden talents and resources that Emma didn't know existed in her small community. They banded together, each heartbeat echoing resilience and support. As she toiled alongside her new ally, Emma felt herself begin to shift. No longer was she just a single mother fighting for survival, she was a woman with a purpose, with a community at her back. Would this newfound support allow her to confront her father's expectations and make a stand of her own? The competition drew nearer, and as emotions mounted, so did the pressure. Emma knew she was standing on the edge of a defining moment, facing not just the challenge of her workshop but the battle for her identity, family, and future. Would she rise above and embrace the life waiting for her, or would her past keep her shackled in fear? The answer lay just beyond her grasp, and she could feel the town holding its breath, waiting for her next move. Emma stood in her workshop, the smell of oil and metal mingling with the sweat on her brow. The sun streamed through the cracked window, illuminating the half-finished engine on her workbench. With determination coursing through her veins, she pushed aside the anxiety that had been gnawing at her since her equipment failure. This was her moment to shine. Her neighbor, Jake, had brought in tools and supplies she couldn't afford. Together, they worked tirelessly. He had shown her the ropes, guiding her through the chaos and allowing her to reclaim her once distant dreams. His laughter was a bright note amidst the worry. Each time she heard him smile, it lifted her spirits just a bit higher. But with the competition looming, the clock felt like a ticking bomb. 5 days left for, and every minute felt like an hour. As they meticulously repaired the equipment, Emma began to notice something remarkable. Their camaraderie morphed into something deeper, a bond forged in sweat and shared laughter. It wasn't just about fixing machinery anymore, it was about nurturing a new friendship and rekindling her own inner strength. What if this doesn't turn out the way we hope? Emma asked one day, her voice soft as she tightened a bolt. Jake looked up from where he was working, his expression earnest. What if it does? And even if it doesn't, you're already winning. Just look at what you've created in here. His words struck her. She had transformed her chaos into a nascent sanctuary, a place for growth, not just for herself, but for her kids and now for Jake, too. She could see it through his eyes. Pushing thoughts of failure to the back of her mind, she felt a rush of purpose. The days passed in a blur of sweat and laughter, yet deep down, a familiar shadow loomed, the looming presence of her father's voice. The expectations he had erected over the years tightened around her chest like a vice grip. What if he found out she was struggling again? On the morning before the challenge showcased at the town hall, Emma took a deep breath. I have to face him, she whispered under her breath, leaving the workshop in a rush. Her heart pounded as she made her way across town. As she approached her father's house, memories flooded back his stern words, the silence filled with disappointment. She hesitated on the porch, her hand hovering over the doorbell. The tiniest push could lead to either reconciliation or resentment. Suddenly, the door cracked open, revealing him standing in the shadows. Time seemed to freeze. He looked older than she remembered, the burden of years and choices clad upon his shoulders. Yet, his eyes still held that familiar glint of wariness. Dad, she started, voice trembling. Unsure of the path she should take, she felt a whirlwind of emotions crash around her: pain, regret, hope intertwined like threads of an unbroken rope. Before she could gather her thoughts, a car pulled up outside, disrupting the moment. It was the contest organizers, ready to collect entries. Emma's heart raced, forcing her to make a choice in an instant. She would either run back to the safety of her workshop or take a stand with her father, facing the demons from her past head-on. What if today is the day everything changes? She whispered to herself, stepping 1 foot closer to the threshold. Would she dare to cross it, or would she retreat into the familiarity of her workshop and the challenge waiting for her there? The answer was still tangled in the uncertainty of the moment, a test not just of her mechanical skills, but of her resolve to heal her fractured past. With a steadying breath, she pressed the doorbell. And as the chime echoed in the air, Emma knew she was on the brink of a pivotal choice, where the outcome could alter everything she believed about herself. What would her father have to say? Would they find common ground, or would scars of the past drive them further apart? The door creaked open wider, and Emma's breath hitched. Her father stood there, a frown etched across his face like cracks in aged wood. The familiar mix of irritation and concern etched on his features sent a shiver down her spine. She wanted to turn back, to retreat to her safe haven, far away from all this emotional chaos. But the door was open now, and she felt the weight of what had brought her here. Dad, she said again, her voice steadying. Can we talk? His brow furrowed deeper, but he finally stepped aside. Come in. The air inside the house felt thick with years of silence. Emma hesitated at the threshold, absorbing the familiar sight: the chipped coffee table, the worn upholstery on the couch, glimpses of family photos that marked the hallway like milestones of an unspoken history. Each piece of furniture felt like a reminder of all they had shared, and lost. Have a seat, he grumbled, gesturing to the couch. Emma sank down, feeling the weight of her decisions pressing against her. She was here, but what did she want? To prove herself? To seek approval? Or was it something deeper, a longing for connection? Is it about your project? He asked, cutting through her thoughts. I can't keep pretending everything's fine when it's not. She swallowed hard. Yes. No. I mean, the words stumbled out, bouncing off the walls, searching for clarity. It's about so much more than that, Dad. It's about me, what I want, what I've chosen. I'm not that girl you think I am anymore. His eyes narrowed, uncertainty clouding his expression. What do you mean? You don't think I want what's best for you? Just listen for a second. Emma's voice was sharper this time, surprising even herself. She took a deep breath. I've been scared. Scared of failing, scared of disappointing you. But I've been trying to build something. I've finally found something I'm passionate about. Passionate? He scoffed, shaking his head. You think fixing engines is going to lead to anything serious? The hurt pierced through her, but she pressed on. I've put my heart into it, Dad. It's not just a hobby. It's the first time I feel alive in a long time. I'm competing in the town challenge tomorrow, and it's important to me to prove to myself that I can do this. Silence enveloped them, a fragile curtain separating the past from the present. She could see his mind racing, a storm brewing behind those tired eyes. Emma, I just want you to be secure. Life isn't always about dreams, it's about struggling and moving forward. She interrupted, her heart beating wildly. I want more than just survival, Dad. I want to live. His expression softened, just a little. She noted the lines on his forehead, hinting at a lifetime of worries. Perhaps he really saw her for the first time. Maybe you should talk to me before you got so deep into this, he replied, a hint of vulnerability in his voice. I could have helped. Helped how? She countered, not wanting to drop her newfound conviction. By validating my fears. By telling me I didn't have what it takes. I need to find my own way, and maybe you do too. As Emma spoke, she felt the energy in the room shift. The air was charged, as if they were both teetering on the brink of revelation. I just don't want you to get hurt, he said finally, voice quieter. Then support me. Believe in me, she replied, feeling tears push at her eyelids. It matters more than you know. For a moment, he just stared at her, his brows furrowing in thought. The vulnerability between them was palpable, buzzing like the air before a rainstorm. Maybe I've been too hard on you, he admitted slowly. Maybe I was just trying to keep you safe from my own failures. But before she could respond, a knock interrupted them, a sharp sound against the fragile intimacy they were building. Emma. It was Jake's voice, calling from outside. We're going to be late for the submission. The interruption ricocheted between them, pulling them both back to reality. She needed to decide. Would she walk away from this moment, or would she stay and reshape the relationship? With her heart racing, she stood. I have to go, Dad. But we can talk more about this. He nodded slowly, uncertainty and hope mingling in his eyes. Yeah, we will. Emma turned and walked towards the door. Jake's presence was a comforting reality waiting outside, a promise of support. As she stepped through the threshold, Emma felt lighter, yet heavy with anticipation. Could today be the day everything changed? What awaited her at the contest? The day was still unfolding, filled with possibility, and somewhere inside, Emma felt a spark igniting, one that just might help her become everything she wished to be. As Emma stepped into the bright afternoon light, the warmth of the sun felt like a gentle nudge, grounding her. She was struck by the bustle around the town square, where the annual contest was held. The sounds of laughter, clanking tools, and engine roars mingled in her ears, lifting her spirits further. Jake was waiting near the entrance, bouncing on the balls of his feet, his excitement palpable. Hey! You made it! His grin was infectious, lighting up his face. You ready for this? Emma nodded, her stomach fluttering nervously. I think so. They walked toward the registration desk, Emma's heart pounding to the rhythm of her steps. The more she thought about the challenge, the more intense the rush of feelings became. Anxiety mixed with excitement, a cocktail that she wasn't familiar with but was eager to savor. As they signed in, the announcer's voice crackled over the loudspeakers, calling out names and times. It felt surreal. She was really here, about to put her skills to the test in front of everyone. Emma Harper. The announcer called suddenly, drawing her attention back. Her name echoed around the square, and she froze for a moment, the weight of the moment hitting her. She took a breath, feeling Jake squeeze her shoulder, anchoring her. "Go get Em," he said, his voice pressing her forward like a wave. With a determined step, she walked toward her station, an area filled with tools and parts she had spent countless hours learning about. Each piece, each bolt sparkled under the sun, and she felt a pull, a connection that was almost electric. It was as if they were waiting for her, too. Emma wiped her clammy hands on her jeans and glanced around. Competitors hustled nearby, all seemingly well prepared and focused. She could sense their confidence radiating, but doubt threatened to creep back in. What if she stumbled? What if her dad was right all along? "Focus on your work, Emma," she whispered to herself. The mantra felt right. She needed to ground herself in the task at hand, to silence the noise of everything else. The signal blared, and Emma's heart lurched. She launched into the challenge, her hands moving with instinct. She focused on the engine in front of her, feeling the familiar weight of the wrench like an extension of herself. Each twist and turn felt right, a dance between her mind and muscles, and a thrill surged through her veins. But as she started making progress, she couldn't shake the feeling of eyes on her. A cluster of spectators gathered, murmuring in anticipation. She caught snippets of their conversations, whispers of doubt punctuated with awe. In the crowd, she spotted a few friends, their cheers warm and encouraging, but her father's absence gnawed at her heart. Then, as she concentrated on a particularly tricky component, she heard it, the unmistakable crashing sound of metal hitting the ground. Panic erupted inside her. She looked up to see another competitor, a young woman named Claire, struggling with a part she had just dislodged. Shouts of frustration surfaced as Claire's part scattered across the ground. Something inside Emma twisted. She remembered the familiar feelings of struggle and defeat. Should she help? Her heart raced at the thought. The crowd's attention shifted, growing restless. Emma's instincts kicked in, and without thinking, she stepped away from her work. She stifled her doubts and rushed to Claire's side. "Here, let me help you," she offered, extending a hand. Claire's eyes widened in surprise, and for that moment, uncertainty filled the air. The tension between their ambitions and the spirit of collaboration hung heavily. Could helping her competitor ultimately cost Emma the challenge she had worked so hard for? What would happen when the clock ticked down and the results were tallied? Emma held her breath, unaware that how she chose to act now might define her beyond this challenge. The stakes had suddenly escalated in an unexpected way, and she felt the weight of outside judgments. Shaking off the anxiety, she focused instead on the moment. The challenge wasn't just about winning. This was about connection, about lifting each other up. But could Emma be brave enough to make that choice? As she lent a hand to Claire, a thought flashed in her mind. Would this act of kindness open doors she hadn't even considered? The timer was counting down, and so was her chance to prove something far deeper. Emma knelt beside Claire, her heart pounding like a drum. The scattered parts glinted under the sun, a chaos of metal that mirrored her own swirling thoughts. She could hear the murmurs from the crowd, the weight of their expectations pressing down on her shoulders. But under that pressure was a feeling that began to blossom, the deep urge to help someone who needed it. "Thank you," Claire breathed, her voice trembling slightly. "I really messed that up." Emma offered her a reassuring smile. "No worries. We'll get this back together." Emma focused on one piece at a time. As she sorted through the components, Claire quickly found her rhythm beside her, moving with renewed purpose. The two worked in tandem, their hands brushing against each other as they navigated through the mess. "Do you know how to fit this part?" Claire asked, holding up a tricky engine piece. "Yeah, here, let me show you," Emma replied, guiding Claire's hands as they fitted the component back into place. A flicker of determination ignited inside her as she recognized that teamwork could create something even grander than the sum of its parts, and there was the familiar rush of joy as they made progress together. Emma suddenly remembered how her father used to work late nights in his garage, the laughter and stories filling the space while they tinkered side by side. This was a moment of connection blossoming like a flower against adversity, far richer than winning a competition. The timer loomed, its relentless ticking filling the air. Emma shot a glance back at her own station, work left undone, tools yet untouched. Panic wrapped around her chest. Was she sacrificing her chances for some fleeting moment of kindness? What if all this effort led her nowhere? But then she caught sight of Claire, her focus palpable now, a spark of gratitude in her eyes as they drove forward together. The crowd's cheers grew louder, but they faded into the background of Emma's mind. She wanted this, or rather, she wanted to be here, in this moment, no matter the personal cost. As the countdown clock hit the last minute, they finished assembling the critical components. They shared a quick grin, a silent promise of solidarity in the face of the challenge. Emma could feel the adrenaline kick in, setting a fire within her as the noise of the contest seemed to fade. Then, with only moments left, Claire turned to Emma, her expression one of raw sincerity. "Thank you for believing in me. I thought I'd bomb this whole thing," Claire said, her voice thick with emotion. "Anytime," Emma replied, the warmth of camaraderie seeping deep into her heart. "We rise together." Just then, the timer buzzed, signaling the end. They stood shoulder to shoulder, panting and slightly disheveled, but filled with a sense of accomplishment that went beyond the contest itself. Emma's gaze traveled back to her station to see the remnants of her efforts. Would she still be able to get everything done in time? Would everyone judge her for choosing to help someone else instead of focusing solely on her own challenge? The announcer's voice boomed through the speakers, announcing the next phase. "Now we will review the entries and see who stands out this year." Emma held her breath, her heart racing. As they waited for the results, Emma felt something shift inside her, an understanding that perhaps this experience could offer more than just a victory. It was about embracing the unexpected and forging connections that would shape her not just today but for years to come. But what happened next changed everything in ways Emma had never imagined. Would she be recognized for not just her skills but her heart? The tension in the air crackled as the announcer prepared to reveal the winners, and Emma couldn't shake the feeling that the true challenge had only just begun. The crowd grew restless, their excitement palpable. Emma could feel the energy surging forward, a wave of anticipation that clawed at her nerves. Claire shifted beside her, still buzzing with the thrill of their last-minute teamwork, and Emma stole a glance at her. Claire's wide smile contrasted sharply with the worry lines etched across Emma's own forehead. The announcer's voice sliced through the air, promising an exhilarating conclusion. "And now, let us see who has triumphed in this year's challenge." The sound echoed like a drumbeat in Emma's chest. As finalists were called, Emma felt her heart skip. Each name sent a bolt of adrenaline through her. With every announcement, she braced herself. Would her name be among them? Would the risk she took in helping Claire backfire? And for our next finalist, Claire Jennings. Claire squealed, her hands flying to her mouth. "I did it. I can't believe it." She jumped up and down, her excitement infectious. Emma felt a rush of pride wash over her, but it was overshadowed by a tight knot in her stomach. What if Claire's success came at Emma's expense? It wasn't supposed to be this way. And our final finalist, Emma Reed. Stunned, Emma stared wide-eyed at the stage. "Wait, me." The realization hit her like a cold splash of water. She clenched her fists, the warmth of pride mixing with the insecurity bubbling beneath the surface. All that work she thought she'd sacrificed for someone else had somehow kept her in the game. The applause roared around her, drowning out her racing thoughts. Claire grabbed her arm, shaking it with joy. "Look at us. We're in this together." Feeling the warmth of Claire's enthusiasm wrapped around her like a safety blanket, Emma smiled. But right behind it came a creeping doubt. Would they treat this like a fair win or the result of their collaboration? Would the judges see their shared effort or only their individual talents? As they stepped onto the stage, the lights shining brightly above, Emma felt exposed, vulnerable under the scrutiny. She took a breath, trying to center herself. It was too late to turn back. Now she had to confront whatever was to come. The announcer took center stage, a mixture of excitement and gravity in his tone. What an incredible challenge this has been. Each of our finalists performed exceptionally, showcasing not only mechanical skills but also teamwork. Emma exchanged a look with Claire, a spark of understanding passing between them. The journey was just as important as the destination. No matter who won, they had grown in ways neither could have imagined. As the announcer launched into the final deliberation, Emma's mind raced with thoughts of her father, the garage, and the brilliance of shared labor. Maybe winning wasn't everything. But the moment the words flowed from the announcer's lips, the weight of uncertainty crushed down around her. The winner of this year's challenge is. Each second felt like an eternity. Emma held her breath, every beat of her heart echoing in her ears like a warning. But just as the final word was about to drop, the power flickered, plunging the room into darkness. Gasps echoed around them. Was this a twist of fate or a cruel joke? Emma's heart raced. What would this unexpected turn mean for their moment and their futures? The darkness felt thick, and Emma tightened her jaw, bracing herself for whatever came next. Emma stood frozen in the darkness, the cheers of the crowd now fading away into a muffled confusion. Heart pounding, she turned to Claire, whose face was transformed by fear and disbelief. They were suddenly unmoored, no longer participants in a competition but two girls lost in a cavern of uncertainty. Is this a bad sign? Claire whispered, her voice barely making it through the gloom. Emma couldn't see her face, but she could hear the tremor there, the same one that mirrored her own fears. I don't know, Emma replied, fighting to keep her voice steady. Maybe it's just a power outage. They'll fix it. But deep down, a nagging doubt slithered in. What if it wasn't just an outage? What if it was the universe's way of telling them something critical? Their dreams hanging in the balance, the future felt more uncertain than ever. Moments stretched painfully long, shadows dancing behind Emma's eyelids as she tried to focus. Suddenly, a single spotlight flickered on, illuminating the announcer at the center of the stage, a silhouette with wide arms gesturing for calm in the stirred crowd. Ladies and gentlemen, his voice broke through the veil of darkness, ringing with a reassuring clarity. We have encountered a technical issue. Please remain patient while we resolve this. A chorus of murmurs erupted. Emma could feel the apprehension ripple through the room. Underneath the noise, however, emotions swirled within her. She wanted to believe they'd overcome something, but every tick of the clock felt like a countdown to disappointment. Claire squeezed Emma's hand, grounding her momentarily. Whatever happens next, I just want you to know I'm proud of you, she said earnestly, her voice slicing through Emma's haze of worry. Tears pricked the corners of Emma's eyes. It was a sobering reminder of their bond, of how quickly they had built a fortress of trust through their teamwork. You too, Claire. Honestly, I wouldn't have made it this far without you. Just as the soft comfort of their friendship wrapped around her heart, the announcer continued, we will announce the winners shortly, but let us take this moment to celebrate all the hard work that brought us here. As the crowd cheered again, Emma's heart skipped a beat, adrenaline igniting once more. Could this darkness mean something more than defeat? Could it be a new beginning, a chance to highlight the journey rather than just the outcome? The lights flickered back on slowly, illuminating the faces of the crowded audience. A wave of energy washed over the room, mixing hope with anxiety. Claire's face was lit up in expectancy, reflecting Emma's spirit, a powerful testament to resilience in the face of unpredictability. While tension crackled in the atmosphere, Emma decided then and there she would embrace whatever came next. This challenge wasn't just about the title or the prize money. It was about how they found their voices and lifted one another up in the process. The announcer cleared his throat again, and Emma leaned in, gripping Claire's hand tighter. And now. A sudden noise from backstage interrupted him, a loud crash echoing through the venue. Gasps filled the hall, and Emma turned, the dread creeping back. What now? What do you think is going on? Claire asked, eyes wide. Emma frowned, her instincts on high alert. I don't know, but I feel like we're about to find out something big. And just as she said it, the backstage curtain flung open, and a figure stumbled into the light, face painted with urgency and excitement. What is going on back there? Emma barely whispered, knowing that whatever happened next would change the course of their night forever. Emma squinted, trying to make out the figure emerging from behind the curtain. It was a young man, breathless and wide-eyed, as if he had just run a mile. His shirt was damp with sweat, hair tousled, and he seemed to absorb the audience's anxious energy. "Excuse me. Can I have your attention, please?" he shouted, cutting through the whispers and nervous laughter. His voice held urgency, pulling every eye in the room toward him. Emma's heart raced. Was he part of the show, or did he represent something far more serious? Claire's grip tightened on her hand. "Oh," Claire muttered, glancing nervously at Emma. "This definitely doesn't feel like a good sign." "Shoo," Emma hissed, unwilling to break the man's concentration. "The competition is on hold," he continued, gasping for breath. "But there's something much bigger happening. There's a chance, an unexpected opportunity for all of you contestants." The audience shifted, leaning in with renewed hope. Emma's pulse quickened. What was he talking about? He paused, collecting himself. "A sponsor just offered a challenge that could change everything for any one of you. Whoever emerges from this will take home a grand prize," and not just that. His eyes darted across the crowd, and Emma could feel the tension rising like steam. "You'll also get a chance to feature in a special program showcasing mechanics from around the country. It could be your big break." The room erupted in chatter. Emma exchanged glances with Claire, both of them caught between excitement and fear. "That sounds amazing!" Claire exclaimed, her eyes sparkling. "But what's the catch?" The man took a deep breath before responding, "It'll be a test of skill, teamwork, and creativity. You cannot just do it alone. You are encouraged to form partnerships. But you need to act quickly. You have only 15 minutes to sign up." "What do we do?" Emma asked, her mind spinning. This could be the moment they'd been waiting for, a chance to step in the spotlight, but would they be ready? Claire looked around at the other contestants, their faces torn between eagerness and hesitation. "We should go for it, Emma. This is what we wanted, isn't it? A shot at something bigger." Emma felt a fluttering in her chest. They had trained hard and pushed through their doubts. This moment was either going to propel them into stardom or throw them back into uncertainty. "I guess we'll never know if we don't take the leap," she said, determination creeping into her voice. As the buzzer rang, signaling the time began, Emma and Claire quickly penned their names on the registration form. The crowd around them buzzed, excitement mingled with nerves, and for a second, everything felt right, but just as Emma handed in the form, a loud crash echoed from backstage again, this time followed by frantic shouting. Emma's stomach dropped. She turned to Claire, who looked equally alarmed. "What's happening now?" Claire asked, her eyes darting toward the commotion. "We have to find out," Emma said firmly, her heart pounding. Together, they stepped forward, drawn toward the chaos that seemed to pull the energy from the room. What lay behind that curtain might change everything they thought about the competition and their futures. What awaited them on the other side of that curtain could be their chance at glory, or a startling revelation that would make them reconsider everything. As they approached, the tension in the air crackled with uncertainty, and they both felt that the real challenge was just beginning. As Emma and Claire stepped closer to the backstage area, the chaotic noises became louder: shouts, crashes, and the harsh sound of metal crashing against the floor. Emma's heart raced. What if someone was hurt? The young man who had called for the contestants' attention was still standing near the front, trying to regain control of the growing confusion. He shouted back toward the curtain, "Everyone, stay calm. We need to know if anyone is injured. Help is on the way." With each step Emma took, she felt the tension in the air thicken around them, almost stifling. Claire squeezed her hand, their fingers intertwining like lifelines against the tide of uncertainty. "Should we really be going back there?" Claire whispered, glancing over her shoulder at the crowd still buzzing with speculation. "Yes," Emma replied. She couldn't shake the feeling that whatever was happening back there was somehow tied to this moment, this chance they just signed up for. We have to know what's going on. It could change everything. They pushed through an unmarked door, revealing a narrow hallway dimly lit by flickering bulbs. Shadows danced around them, creating eerie shapes on the walls. The sounds grew clearer, a voice shouting for assistance, frantically ordering people to gather tools and check on the equipment. Rounding a corner, they stumbled upon a scene that sent chills down Emma's spine. Several crew members were trying to lift a heavy piece of machinery that had toppled over, trapping one of the technicians underneath. Emma's breath caught in her throat as she recognized the technician Mason, the same one who had offered her pointers during her early weeks in the workshop. "Help!" he cried out, panic and pain etched across his face. "I can't." Without thinking, Emma motioned to Claire. "We can't just stand here." Claire watched her, torn between fear and determination. "What do we do?" "Grab that lever." Emma pointed to a nearby gigantic lever attached to some equipment that seemed strong enough to lift the machinery off Mason. "If we can just get it under there, maybe we can pull it off." Claire nodded and moved to assist, her face set with resolve. They knew their time was running out. Mason's voice was strained with effort, and every second mattered. As they struggled together, hoisting the lever into place, Emma felt adrenaline fuel her movements. She was aware of the eyes watching them, contestants and crew alike, witnessing their every move. This was not just about a challenge anymore. It was about life and death. "On 3. Emma shouted, taking in a deep breath. 1, 2, 3. They pushed with all their might, the lever groaning and shifting in a way that felt almost like prophecy. The machinery above Mason began to shift, inching slowly away from him, the relief palpable, but just as they thought they had it, a sudden creaking noise splintered the moment. The machinery swayed unsettlingly. Panic coursed through Emma's veins. "Hold steady, Claire. Don't let go." In that heartbeat, Emma realized what they were doing was incredibly risky. She glanced back at the faces behind them, some hopeful, others worried. They were about to unleash something entirely unpredictable, and there was no going back. Finally, with one final push, the machinery broke free. It fell back with a resounding thud, and Mason gasped, scrambling to his feet, completely shaken. Emma turned to Claire, their eyes wide in disbelief. The weight of what they had just done hung in the air like a thick fog. Mason sighed, relief washing over him, gratitude shining in his eyes. "You did it. You saved me." But as cheers erupted around them, Emma couldn't shake the feeling of dread creeping in. What did this mean for the challenge? Had they just crossed a line that could change everything? The buzz that had once been excitement now transformed. All eyes were now focused on the duo, as if an unspoken challenge had just been laid at their feet. "Let us move," Claire said abruptly, pulling Emma along. "We need to find out how this changes everything." What they did next could decide not only their fate in this competition but also the lives of everyone around them. The stakes just soared, and deep down, she felt that whatever was next, it would be bigger than anything they had anticipated. But could they navigate this whirlwind and not lose themselves in the chaos? Emma felt her heart pound in her chest as she and Claire made their way back into the spotlight of the contest area, the weight of Mason's rescue still heavy on their shoulders. The exhilaration of what they had just accomplished pulsed through her veins, yet uncertainty swirled around her like smoke. Had they just jeopardized their chances in the challenge? Would the crowd see them as heroes or reckless individuals? They stepped back into the buzzing energy of the crowd, still reeling from the intensity of their actions. Emma's mind raced, replaying every second of the ordeal. She glanced at Claire, who looked as wide-eyed as Emma felt, a mix of shock and determination shining in her eyes. As the announcer resumed control of the event, his voice seemed to echo in Emma's ears. That was quite a dramatic development. As you can see, teamwork is crucial not only in mechanical work but in life itself. He looked directly at Emma and Claire. Your admirable actions have not only saved a crew member but showcased the true essence of what this competition stands for: collaboration, courage, and community. The crowd erupted into applause. Emma's heart soared, and a radiant smile crept across her face. Maybe they weren't just competitors anymore, they were part of something bigger. Mason stumbled out from behind the curtain, his face still pale but illuminated with gratitude. I owe you both my life. You jumped in without thinking, and that kind of courage, it's rare. It shows what real mechanics are made of, hearts of steel. Tears pricked at the corners of Emma's eyes. This was everything she had sought after, it was a recognition of the struggle and the sacrifice. She had always wanted approval, to prove that she belonged, that she was more than just a single mother behind a wrench. The announcer cleared his throat. And with that act, we shall make this year's challenge a true testament to teamwork. We're shifting gears. Each finalist will be paired for this final test, and it will decide the grand prize collectively. The murmurs of surprise rippled through the audience. Emma felt Claire's hand firmly grasp hers, their hearts beating as one. Together, they would face this head-on. Can you believe this? Claire whispered, eyes sparkling with excitement. Our teamwork brought us here. Let us make this count, Emma replied, the fire of determination rekindling within her. They turned their gaze to the stage, ready to tackle whatever the challenge would bring. As the competition unfolded, Emma learned just how powerful collaboration could be. She and Claire combined their skills, support, and creativity in ways Emma had never imagined. They faced hurdles, tackled intricate problems, and brainstormed real-time solutions, feeding off each other's energy, and their bond grew deeper. With every cycle of whirring tools and laughter echoing in the workshop, Emma felt layers of her past peel away. It wasn't just about her dreams anymore, it was about everyone's ambition. It was about community, the very essence she had fought to build. Finally, the results loomed ahead. The announcer looked at the finalists, pride shining in his expression. Today, we witnessed not only skill but the heart of true mechanics. The winner, based on collaboration and execution. Emma held her breath, the anticipation thick as honey. Is Emma and Claire. The roar of applause was deafening, and they stood, stunned, as their names echoed like a sweet melody amidst the cheering crowd. Emma felt the tears spill over, a joyful release. She turned to see Claire's beaming face, and in that moment, everything transformed. They had risen above their own doubts and found strength in each other. With the trophy held high and the cheers vibrating around them, Emma scanned the crowd for one face, her father's. Yet, it wasn't just about his approval anymore. She had discovered something powerful within herself, a sense of self-respect that needed nothing to validate it. Suddenly, she spotted him standing at the edge, a mix of awe and pride illuminating his features. Their eyes locked, and she felt a rush of understanding pass between them. Perhaps this was the moment of healing they both needed. As the noise of celebration washed over her, Emma reached for Claire, words bubbling with gratitude. We did this together. Thank you for believing in me. No, Emma. Thank you for showing me what we're capable of, Claire replied, eyes bright in the light of their victory. As the crowd continued to celebrate, Emma smiled through her tears, her heart full. She had faced her challenges and her fears, claiming her place as not just a mechanic, but as a force of change in her own life. This was a new beginning, a story of resilience, and the power of community. And it was just the beginning. Now's the time for you to become a part of something incredible. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us grow. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this amazing ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. Let your voice be heard.